Hey y'all, welcome to my side of the internet. My name's Nathi Ndhlovu, but you can call me Nathi. If you're new here, it's very nice to meet you. It is a very snowy Friday and I'm bored and there's no school today. So to try and get rid of that boredom, I am going to be sewing. So I will be turning these pair of cargo pants that I don't like anymore into a bucket hat. I've done this project before with another pair of pants I did not like. This seems to be an occurring thing for me. I tried to contrast stitch it, but the stitching is very messy. It's kind of tight on my head. I'm going to make a new one and you're gonna watch me make one. Let's get started. The first thing I am going to be doing is taking apart the pants. I have this seam ripper that I got from a convenience store, which surprisingly sold a lot of sewing stuff, and just rip these. It's gonna take a long time, so I'm gonna get back to you when I have finished doing that. I've come to the conclusion that using the seam ripper, yeah, anyways, using this will take me too long because the pant has a lot of ridges. They're not really smooth. I have done this much so far, so I'm just gonna use scissors to cut and the line. I've cut up the two pieces now and they're pretty huge. So now I'm just gonna thread out my sewing machine and then draw out the stencil for the bucket hat when I find it. It's somewhere in here. I will link the stencil down below because I did get it from a website. Enter the needle, friend. The sewing machine has been threaded. Now I am just going to draw out my patterns. These are the stencils I will be using for the hat. I cut them out from these. Yeah, so we just trace these on the fabric, cut them out, and then we'll get to sewing. Before we continue, I'm going to show you my supplies that I will be using in this. So first of all, we have my little pins to keep the fabric in place. And you've already seen this, but it's my seam ripper. I have two threads. One is already in here and this one just in case. Then I have an extra bobbin, which I should have threaded before, but you know, it just crossed my mind. I have a white color pencil that I'll use to draw out the stencil so I can see what lines I am cutting. Scissors, of course. I have an iron that I'm going to use just to straighten out the fabric because it's pretty creased. And then lastly, of course, we have my ripped up pants. I want this like little seam connection to be the top of the hat. I want the top of my hat to be a bit bigger than this stencil, just a bit. So I'm gonna use this plate. We have this circle drawn. Now I'm just gonna draw the brim. Get to finish drawing all the stencils. I'll be back. I have done the headbands. I cut one out. Now I'm cutting the other side out, and we'll cut the like circle and the brim out. Cutting is done. So I have one circle for the top of the hat, two strips that are a bit short or the side of the hat, and then I have four longer strips, 1 2 3 4 for the brim. Now we go on to the sewing machine and start sewing. First thing I'm going to do before sewing my pieces together is do the edges, like seal the edges so that they don't fray, and also that will give the inside of the hat a more cleaner look. Now you don't have to do this, I'm just doing it because I'm a bit of a perfectionist and I like things looking neat, even if no one would see them. I've finished sealing all the ends and I've also ironed them as well. So now I'm just gonna start with the headbands, putting the side I want to show on the inside and then just sewing only the sides. To hold them in place, take my needles here. I'm just gonna put 2 needles on the edges and then sew in the inside. I don't know if any of this is making sense, but I'm trying my best. Hey y'all. It's the next day. I didn't feel like finishing the hat yesterday, so here we are. This hat doesn't take 2 days to make, it's just my laziness got in the way and I was watching my show and I didn't want to be bothered by that and it was getting dark. Anyways, I did finish the headband yesterday and then I just went ahead and pinned the circle, the top of the hat, around the headband. So now I'm just gonna sew around that. I've sewn around the circle. Now we can just flip this part and you have the top of the hat. We put that aside and now we just make the brim of the hat. Taking the 4 long pieces that you cut in the beginning, just take 2 of them and then flip them. So the good side will be on the inside and then the part that is inside the hat will be on the outside. Join those 2 together. And then you wanna pin the bottom of the curve and then just sew that together. After you've sewn the top, you just fold it back to the good side. And it should look like this. I'm gonna do the other side and then iron them both and then I'll be back with the next step. Once you're done sewing both sides, you're gonna take both of the fabrics and make them flat and then put the good side inside together. And then you are going to sew the edge. To make the brim more sturdy, I'm gonna draw inch spaces and then just sew round and round and round. I'll show you that just now. So these are the inch mark spacings that I am going to sew around. After you've done sewing all around the brim, you are going to join the top of the hat with the brim. This is the point you should choose what side you want to be seen. They look the same, but it's up to you. So good side facing up, you are going to take the top and then flip it upside down and then put it in the circle like this and then pin around and sew. So this is how it should look after it's pinned down. After you've finished sewing the sides, you can now flip this over and we are done. This should be your end product when you finish. Making hats is fun. I hope I explained how to make it pretty okay. I don't know, I'm not good at doing tutorials or teaching people stuff. I'm more of a do than a teach, you know. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video and I will see you in the next one. Bye.